All right, welcome everybody. In this video, we are going to begin working with a new Colab notebook. The link to this notebook is given in the description of this video, and we're going to continue working with the ggplot2 package. And we started working with this package in the previous module, and just recall that ggplot2 is perhaps the most popular and powerful plotting package in R. It works on the grammar of graphics, so that's kind of the underlying philosophy and structure involved in creating plots with ggplot2. So we discussed that philosophy a little bit last time in the last module, and we worked with some geomes to create some plots in ggplot2. In particular, bar plots, histograms, density plots, box plots, and violin plots. And so if you are unfamiliar with ggplot2, I would recommend you go and take a look at that previous module first. In this module, we're going to build off of that and take things a little bit further. And there's a link over here to the appendix where there's just a brief summary of kind of the main ingredients that go into building a plot with ggplot2, some of the geomes, a list of the geomes, and a list of the aesthetics in ggplot2. In this module, we're going to talk about how we can construct scatter plots, how we can add smoothers to scatter plots, and these are going to be things like regression lines, how we can use themes. We use that a little bit, but we'll build on that a little bit more in this module. How we can use faceting, what statistical transformations are, and how we can customize them. And we'll talk about positioning in bar plots so that we can create things like stacked relative frequency and clustered bar plots. So we'll build on our ggplots2 skills and take things to a different level. So I want to talk about, or I want to make sure that you load and install all of the required packages that you're going to need for this module. If at some point you take a break, I would recommend you do take a break and don't do this entire module all in one sitting. Then you're going to need to come back and restart your session, and you're going to need to reload all of these packages. So they're all here in one code cell. So you'll just need to run this very first code cell, and then you'll have all of the packages ready to go to run any code cell in this notebook. So the packages that we're going to need are clearly, we're going to need the ggplot2 package. That package is already installed in Colab, so we don't need to install that package. We just need to load it with the library command. And then we're going to use 3 additional packages at some point in this notebook. The GG themes package we're going to use for color blind friendly color scale at some point. So that we're going to need to install that package since it's not installed by default. And then we're going to need to load it with the library command. We're going to need to install the Palmer Penguins package and then load it with the library command. That's going to contain the Penguins data frame that we're going to use to play around with ggplot2. And then there is a package called hist data that is going to contain a data frame called Galton, which is going to contain, which we're going to use to play around with the jittering feature at the very end of this module. So we can install all 3 of these packages at the same time. That's what this command is doing. And then we're loading each of them separately with the library command. So I'm going to run this first code cell. I get this warning since this is the first time I am running this notebook, which is stored in GitHub. And you can see it is taking a moment just to install these packages. So while those packages are being installed, for most of the notebook, the data set that we'll be working with is the Palmer Penguins data frame. Just looking at the code cell above, all of those packages have installed and loaded. We've worked with this Penguins data frame in the previous module, so I'm going to assume you have some familiarity with that data frame. The variables in that data frame are listed below. The source of the data is listed below with links as well. If you are not familiar with the data frame, you can access the help documentation and read about where the data comes from and what's in the data. And you can run some of these code cells to get summaries of the variables in the data frame, take a look at the structure of the data frame. There are initially 344 observations and 8 variables. And we can take a look at the first 6 rows if you wanted to. And one thing to just note at this point is that we do have some missing values. Some of the quantitative variables are missing values, and there are 11 observations that don't have any sex recorded for the penguin. Okay, so I will stop at this point. This is really just an introduction to what's going to follow in this module and making sure that you've got all of the packages loaded correctly and you've got the data loaded up. And in the next video, we'll just create a couple of plots in ggplot2 just to make sure you refresh yourself with the basics of ggplot2, and then we'll build off of that. Thanks, everybody.